One.
Hello, I'm Sydney. This is Kaitlyn and Faith. We're going to talk to you about green infrastructure and its usage and benefits, and how it can help to prevent thermal pollution from stormwater resulting from impervious surfaces. So, thermal pollution is defined as a sudden increase in the temperature of body of water caused by human impact. So the human impact we'd be mainly trying to help reduce is the impact of impervious surfaces. Impervious surfaces when the water collects on the impervious surfaces, it can increase in temperature, and then that water goes into our lakes and rivers. And focusing specifically on our watershed, Lamberton Creek. The change in temperature of a body of water can result in extreme damages for ecosystems and the creatures and plants living in and around the water in the area. So Kaitlyn is going to talk to you about some of those effects and dangers.
Alright, so runoff can overwhelm the capacity of combined sewers, which sends millions of gallons of raw sewage into our rivers, lakes, and creeks. You can see this picture right here. After it rains, the sewers combine and it goes out into our water source. Alright, keep in mind that these are the water sources that we fish, swim, and even drink from, so that's pretty disgusting. Alright, because of bacteria and other pollutants in runoff, it becomes a major health risk for both us and animals. Runoff can also have an effect on the environment because high volumes can erode stream banks and cause flooding.
So nobody wants to be swimming in nasty sewage water. So some ways we can help fix these dangers are with green infrastructure. And green infrastructure is just a natural way of mimicking the natural water cycle. And it helps in many ways. There is a reduced risk of flooding and reduced damages of flooding if we use green infrastructure, and there's several different types, which Faith is going to talk about in a minute. But it helps reduce flooding and energy use because you're reducing your energy use. And that's also going to reduce how much your energy bill or how much you're going to spend on energy as well. And then that would lead to your overall cost because your energy use is going down, spending on flood damage is going down, and spending on sewage overflows is also going down. So we have a picture over here that just talks about some other benefits such as tourism, supports 37,500 jobs in the Northwest. And having this green infrastructure can give a more aesthetic appeal to businesses, which can help promote business as well. Then like health and wellness, green infrastructure reduces pollution, which leads to asthma and heart disease. All sorts of good things come out of it.
Okay, so there are many different types of green infrastructures that can be built. But I'll only talk about 4 different ones today, starting with rain gardens, which you see on your left. Rain gardens are adaptable and can be incorporated in almost any unpaved surface. And these gardens are shallow vegetated areas that collect and absorb runoff from rooftops, sidewalks, and streets. On the right, you'll see green roofs, which are roofs of buildings that are either partially or completely covered in vegetation. When the rainwater falls, the vegetation absorbs it, and this is a good idea because they last longer than conventional roofs and create a peaceful retreat for animals. They're also a great idea because they reduce money needed that we spent for expensive drainage systems. On the left, you'll see planter boxes, which are urban rain gardens with walls that can either be open at the bottom or closed, and absorb rainwater and collect runoff from sidewalks, parking lots, and streets. These are especially ideal if you're low on space because you can either make them as big as you want or as small as you want. On the right, you'll see permeable pavements, which treat and store rainwater, and the many layers that compose it. As you can see, there's a lot of layers. At the bottom is uncompacted subgrade soil, which is like as far as you can go down. These are good because businesses that have a lot of problems with flooding and pavements being iced over quite often would help, and it would help erosion.
All right, so general cost varies on location. So a garden in front of a nice building in the city would cost more than a garden in a median in a highway somewhere. It would also vary on how much it would cost to maintain, how big the area is that one wishes to cover, and aesthetic needs. So how pretty does it need to look?
Okay. Typically, businesses spend about $40 million on gray infrastructure, whereas green infrastructure only costs about $1.2 to $1.4 million. And green infrastructure provides a less expensive route, as you can tell, for operation and expense and damages. Compared to gray infrastructure, green infrastructure can start in about half the time that gray infrastructure can. Incorporating green infrastructure into our businesses would generally show a lot of benefits over a period of time. Even though there happens to be many different types of green infrastructure that can be incorporated into your business, they all have the potential to save you money by decreasing the money you'd have to spend on your energy bill, your water bill. They'd increase health by eliminating some water pollution and eventually decreasing air pollution. They reduce floods, but if a flood still does happen, it reduces the damages that can occur. For instance, capturing like rainwater through rain harvesting, which I know Patrick talked about that in his presentation. You can use the rainwater for like your gardens and different stuff like that. You can use it in your house because about 60% of our water that we use in our house comes from the outside anyway. Also, permeable pavements would mean lowering maintenance costs compared to traditional pavements, and they last longer, which means saving us money in the long run.
All right, so in conclusion, green infrastructure can be cost-effective, increase energy efficiency, and reduce energy costs, reduce the economic impacts associated with flood events, and protect public health and reduce illness-related costs. Thank you for listening.